Hi guys, welcome back. So what we're going to do today is we are going to do another fractions video. Everyone loves fractions. So what we're going to do today is we are going to multiply and divide fractions. We're going to do this in one video because once you learn how to multiply fractions, dividing fractions is super easy because it's the exact same thing, just one added step. Okay, so we're going to start with multiplying, and we're going to start with just simple fractions, and then we'll move on into mixed numbers. So the first fraction that we're going to do is 3/5, and we're going to multiply that by 2/9. Multiplying fractions is extremely easy. All you have to remember is it's two multiplication problems combined. So you have to multiply your top number, which is your numerators. So you're going to be multiplying your numerators together, and then you multiply your denominators together. The only added step is you have to simplify at the end. So let's just look, see what it is. 3 times 2. We're going to multiply those numerators together, and we get 6. 5 times 9. I'm going to multiply my denominators together, and I'm going to get 45. Now, the only thing that we have to do is simplify. So I have to see if we have a common factor between 6 and 45. There's a common factor of 3. So I can divide 6 by 3, and I can divide 45 by 3. So I'm going to divide both numbers by 3. So I'm simplifying it into smaller terms. 6 divided by 3 is going to be 2. 45 divided by 3 is 15. 15 is not even, so I cannot divide by 2. So this is as far as I can go. So 3/5 times 2/9 equals 2/15. Simple, right? Well, it does get a little more complicated when we bring in mixed numbers, but I know you guys can do it. So let's do an example with some mixed numbers. So let's look at 1 1/4 times 6/7. So if you remember, mixed numbers are where I have a whole number and a fraction. So a previous video, we talked about where we have to convert mixed numbers into improper fractions. I'm going to put it up in the eye just so you can find it if you need it. But I'm going to have to turn this mixed number into an improper fraction before I can multiply across. Okay, so to do that, we're going to multiply our denominator by our whole number, and I'm going to get 4 as my product. Then I'm going to add that 4 to my current numerator of 1. So now I have 5/4 times 6/7. Now I am going to multiply straight across. 5 times 6 is 30. 4 times 7 is 28. We now have an improper fraction. So I have to turn this back into a mixed number. So I have to say, how many times can I take 28 out of 30? And it can come out once. Then I have to see what's left over. If I take 28 away from 30, I have 2 remaining. That's my numerator. My denominator stays 28. But that's not simplified. 2 and 28 are both even. So I need to divide by 2. So I'm going to divide both numbers by 2. So 1 and 2 28. I'm going to divide by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 28 divided by 2 is 14. And don't forget to bring over your whole number. So 1 1/4 times 6/7 is 1 1/14. Okay, let's try one more multiplying together. And we're going to use mixed numbers on both cases now. Let's say I have 2 1/3 times 1 3/4. I need to turn both of these numbers into improper fractions. So remember to do that, I multiply my denominator by my whole number. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. So I have 7. I bring over my 3, so I have 7/3 times 4 times 1 is 4. 4 plus 3 is 7. And I'm going to bring over my 4. Now I multiply straight across. 7 times 7 is 49. 3 times 4 is 12. So also, when I showed you guys in the previous video how to convert it into improper fractions, we learned how to take it away and take an improper fraction and make it back into where there's whole numbers. So we did it with division. So I'm going to say, how many times can I take 12 away from 49? So if I do this as a division problem, 49 divided by 12. 12 times 4 is 48. I subtract and get 1. 4 is going to be my whole number. 1 is my numerator, and 12 stays my denominator. So 2 1/3 times 1 3/4 is 4 1/12. Okay, so do you think you got multiplying? So remember, turn them improper, multiply straight across. Now, if you know how to multiply fractions, you most definitely can divide fractions. It's just one added step. So we're going to start with just simple fractions. So let's do 4/9 divided by 2/3. So there is a trick that I teach my students, and it's to divide by a fraction. Here's a tip: keep, change, flip. So we have to find the reciprocal or flip over the second fraction to be able to multiply it across. So we want to turn our division problem into a multiplication problem. So I'm going to keep my first fraction. So I'm going to keep it 4/9. I'm going to change my sign to multiplication, and I'm going to flip my second fraction. And if you notice, I made a multiplication problem, and we just talked about that. We just multiply straight across. So 4 times 3 is 12. 9 times 2 is 18. Now, I just need to simplify. 12 and 18 have a common factor. They actually have a lot of common factors. So their greatest common factor is 6. But if you didn't know that, you can always do it multiple times and factor it multiple times. But I know that 6 is a common factor. So I'm going to divide 12 by 6 and 18 by 6. 12 divided by 6 is 2. 18 divided by 6 is 3. Remember, 6 is just my greatest common factor. So if you remember how to do that, I'll also put that up in the eye just so you guys can find it. Okay, so let's look at another example. And let's say we have 4/5 divided by 1/3. So to divide by a fraction, here's a tip: keep, change, flip. Keep your first, 4/5, change to multiplication, flip your second. Now, multiply straight across. 4 times 3 is 12. 5 times 1 is 5. Now I need to say, how many times can I take 5 away from 12? Because I know there's a whole number in here. My numerator is larger than my denominator. So 5 times 2 is 10. So I can take 2 whole numbers out of 12. And when I take that 10 away from 12, I have 2 pieces left. So I have 2 of 5 pieces that I needed to make a third whole. So my mixed number version of 12/5 is 2 2/5. Okay, so we're going to practice one more, but we're going to do it with mixed numbers. So we have 2 2/3 divided by 1 3/5. 2 2/3 divided by 1 3/5. If you want to try and see if you can do it on your own, hit pause, come back to us in just a few minutes and see if you get it right. Okay, so our first step is we need to turn these improper. So if you remember, we have to take our denominator, multiply it by our whole number. 3 times 2 is 6. Then add my numerator. So I have 8/3 divided by 5 times 1 is 5. 5 plus 3 is 8/5. But I'm not done yet. I need to divide by a fraction. Here's a tip. Keep, change, flip. Keep your first, change to multiplication, and flip your second. Now, multiply straight across. 8 times 5 is 40. 3 times 8 is 24. I can take 24 away from 40 only one time. When I subtract, I'm going to get 16 over 24. Then I need to simplify it. So I need to say, what is my greatest common factor between 18 and 24? And it's 8. So I am going to divide both my numerator and my denominator by 8. So I get 1 2/3. Okay, I hope this video helped. If you have any questions, please hit me up in the comments. Do not forget to subscribe to the page, and I hope to see you guys soon. Bye.